Greetings, queens and kings. I go by the name of Queen Itasha, the owner of Mind, Body, and Stones. I am coming to you from the DMV area, Maryland, DC, and Virginia, for those of you all that do not know the abbreviation for DMV. I am going to touch on a few things pertaining to checking your perception and the feelings of lust. The purpose of this video is for me to give my listeners a few, I would say, a lot of information that they can look up on their own to then be able to form a different perception about their feelings in a lustful moment. That way, we're not walking around recklessly expressing ourselves due to a lack of knowledge. I had a situation that happened yesterday, and I posted a picture of my body sideways, and I received a comment from a male. I won't say his name. He said, "Nice ass." Okay, I wasn't offended, and I'm not offended because I understand his perception. And there's so many things that affect our perception about different topics, but lust being one of them, that I felt the need to create a video to give the knowledge that I know based on my experiences, other people's experiences, my, let's say, my own research, and the confirmation I received from my ancestry to have this conversation, to give this information. And I just want to be clear that in order for me to feel comfortable to discuss something, I have to have enough information on it and feel good about it, and also get permission from my ancestors, which confirm that do it, right? I feel it in my spirit, so I know that I'm supposed to do this. So, to touch on the different things that alters our perception and the feelings of lust, I want to start with first our upbringing. Some men were not raised by a woman, which means they have no idea what women want and how they would like for a man to approach them or maybe even compliment them. Okay? And I think we can all agree to that to some degree. Because I do want to be transparent that once I made a post about the fact that I was actually going to do a YouTube video on this topic, I received a phone call from a gentleman, and because I did not ask for his permission to mention his name, I won't. He was a male. I would say he's more than likely in his 40s. I'm not sure if he's much older than that. But I want to say I'm comfortable with saying he's at least 40. And he actually hosts a male group where they discuss the different topics. And he wanted to know, he's like, it's so funny that I wanted to discuss this topic when that was the topic that they were discussing in their male group yesterday. So he had an opportunity right before he went into his meeting with the male group to get a female's perspective on how we feel when a male comes to us and approaches us in a lustful manner rather than a more mentally emotional manner. And I thought that was pretty amazing because he touched on a perspective that I didn't think about. And I touched on a perspective that he didn't think about. That perspective that he stated was my response to him. I gave him my perspective on when a man actually approaches me like, "Oh, that's a nice ass," or "What's up with you, shorty," or "I would like to get to know you," and making it known through looks and body gestures that you're insinuating sensuality in a sexual manner through the feelings of lust. And my response to him was, I understand why they come to women like that. And for me, I just feel like it's a lack of knowledge. And because I'm sure of who I am, I'm not offended as if, oh, that's the only way you're looking at me. I'm not concerned with that. Because most times if a man try to approach me, 9 times out of 10, I don't talk to them. I normally approach who I want to talk to, and I'm just being completely transparent about the way I move. Because in most cases when they approach me, I feel like they're approaching me just based off of appearance and opportunity to satisfy the lustful feeling. So I like to put myself, and that's okay when it's wanted. Let me be clear. If the feeling is mutual, it's okay. But I prefer to make my connections from situations that are organic. Not once a person has made themselves very clear that that's how that's on the forefront. Less. Well, when I expressed that to him, he said, well, men don't come at females like, excuse me, you're beautiful, I would like to get to know you. Normally because they're not emotionally attached to sex. And he expressed that their ego is attached to their penis, which means that they are not going to come to you like that because, from what he stated, they're afraid of rejection most times. And they're confident in, I know what I can do with this, so what's up? In other words. And I never looked at it like that is why. But it brightened my horizon and wow, that makes a lot of sense because they're not confident in the emotional attachment of what a woman needs when you're approaching her and why it's important that you don't approach her with, so it's good. I'm trying to see what that's like. They're not registering with that. But if you tell them, I mean, if they come at the woman like, yeah, what's up? They know they can back that up depending on who they're approaching. So the reasons why they do that from his perspective is because of their natural bias of rejection. So hearing a man's perspective on that was great. Him hearing a female's perspective on that was great, from the feedback that he got from me. And that is, I am not the type that will get offended by a man saying nice ass. Nowadays, the old Itasha, absolutely, we would have been arguing. But the conscience Itasha, well aware, not so much, because I understand it's due to a lack of knowledge. And offensiveness and the word even disrespect comes from you perceiving one's actions due to a lack of understanding. So once you understand what you're dealing with, you can approach it with an open mind. And that's with anything. So I would like to go ahead and just touch on the knowledge that I have for you all. So I would like for you all to look into circumcision for our men. Why? Because think of it like this. Why does that matter? It matters because when you're circumcised, your penis loses the layer of skin that was naturally there when you were born. It's not supposed to be removed. When that happens, can you imagine a female having the skin over her clitoris pulled back and exposed? That means, and her not having any lips to protect the feeling of friction against clothes. The sensitivity from that alone is going to cause feelings at an early age where they're trying to figure out, ooh, what's that? Whereas if that barrier of protection was still there, they would not feel like, ooh, so soon, because the only way they'll feel it is if the foreskin is pulled back. If they're just having their penis in their pants and the foreskin's covered, they're less likely to feel the rubbing up against the underwear, you know? And I have 2 boys, so I know. And constantly pulling to make sure, so their underwear, they have to have room. Because if not, it rubs up against it and it creates a sensation like, ooh, what's that? Okay? So that's one thing. If I knew better and we knew that circumcision would cause that type of an issue, I'm sure we wouldn't do it, and I know I wouldn't have. Let's touch on the fact that our men have a lower life expectancy. Why is that relevant? Because every time a man ejaculates, he loses the amount of nutrients that a woman loses in a menstrual cycle. Yeah, that's a whole lot of nutrients, which is why he lacks the energy after he has an orgasm. And for a woman, we take in all of that energy. And that's why we get a boost of energy once we're intimate. We're opposites. We take in, but we also take in a lot more than that. That's a whole nother topic. Where I've gotten, I can't say the circumcision I didn't get from this, but the men losing the amount of nutrients that a woman loses in each ejaculation, which causes baldness and aging and lower life expectancy, I definitely got that from Taoism. And I would like for you all to look up Taoism. And the reason why it's very important to look up different things about this topic is because there's more than one thing that is affecting your perception on the meaningful purpose behind sex and the feelings of sex. Because yes, lust is normal, but are you lusting over the right thing? Are you lacking self-control? And let's go back. That's another thing that we touched on, me and the gentleman that spoke last night. He touched on the fact that, let's be clear, is it that the men don't know that they should have a barrier of respect and a balance and self-control when approaching a woman? Or is it that they do what's convenient for them? And the reason why he stated that, and I loved his reason, because I didn't think about that at the moment, honestly. And he said, if it was their daughter or their mother and a man said nice ass to them, they would be ready to just jump down their throat. So it's by choice that you chose or you choose not to be tactful and mindful about your approach. And I thought that was real. But then you have those situations, and then you also have those who weren't raised by their mom, those who don't understand what a woman wants and needs. And then on top of that, you have all these other influences, like how you were brought up. Another thing, when you were little, let's go back. When you were little, if you grew up in a household, put some clothes on, nobody want to see that. If you were told to be ashamed of when you may have sexual feelings from a child, because it starts early. But when you experience feelings of sex or the sensation of it, you begin to have, I would say, in those situations, if you feel it, you may not know what to do with it because you've already been told. And correct me if I'm wrong or ask me the question or state your opinions in the comments below. You may have felt some type of way. Think back to when you were little and your mom or dad said, put some clothes on, you know. You might get caught playing with yourself and they just make you feel like a low down dirty dog because they caught you playing with yourself. I mean, let's be completely transparent about this. I mean, in situations like that, you begin to build shame that's taxing on your mental by force of habit over a period of time. Think about it. So you don't really know all the layers of things that cause your current perception in the feelings of lust. Because you've been told in some people's households, cover that up. And then if you get caught doing something, oh, let you not get caught playing with yourself, male or female. You may be treated like, you know, what's wrong with you? You know, and it makes you feel ashamed, like, I'm going to go hide in my corner. You know, so I don't really understand this feeling, but I like it and I don't understand it. That's a problem. And it's a problem because you don't know what to do with it. So what you do by force of habit is you conform to the way that your parents want you to be or act. And then as you get older, you lose control. And that's what I see. So it's many things that cause the issue with that. Women and men are out of control. Completely out of control. And the women are much worse now than men are, in my opinion. Our gods and goddesses do not know who they are. And Taoism is very helpful when it comes to helping you understand how religion has affected your thought process and how you should have sex and who you should have sex with, because they leave a lot of gray areas. So they have a partial truth and lack of knowledge. And what happens in those situations is there is a cloudy area and there's questions that some people can't answer. And it's up to you to go back and do damage control. And it's now that I know what I'm supposed to do in life, it's my job to send you the message. So I want to be very transparent with you all about me. It's no one's business, but it is my job to be as transparent as possible to build a comfortable relationship with those who are listening to me. When I was younger, my estrogen level was skyrocket high. I started my menstrual cycle at age 4. It's called precocious puberty. Okay? That means that, well, when I was 7, I had to take shots and pills up until I was about, no, I took shots and pills up until I was 8 to stop my menstrual cycle. So that I was going to be a midget, so that my bone structure would grow with my body and I wouldn't be a midget. So thankfully my menstrual cycle showed up. That's due to soy milk. For those soy lovers, be mindful of that, because that caused my estrogen level to skyrocket up. Okay? Because of that, my sex drive from here was through the roof. No, I didn't end up becoming a reckless sex person, slave, whatever. I didn't turn for the worse or anything like that. Thank God. Yeah, from that experience alone, I can't say that I don't understand what it's like to be a child and have feelings of sexual desires, and because I did. I'm not going to go into details about any of that right now because this topic is specifically about checking your perception in the feelings of lust. But I felt the need to express that to you all so that you know that you're getting this message from someone who's very sexual and very in tune with my sexuality and feminine energy. And I'm not ashamed of that. Not uncomfortable with it at all. I just don't want to get off topic and discuss more than I need to in this video pertaining to that subject. I want to stick to the point. And I want to give you all as much information as you need so that you know some of the things that alters your perception. So be mindful if you have children, of making them feel ashamed of their bodies, not feeling the need to have certain discussions with them. That is why I have created Conscious Kings for my young boys, and they do have a YouTube channel which we will discuss what conscious parenting does for them, because I do not want them to grow up and not understand what those feelings are. So just to go back and touch on the religion part and how it affects you, how it says partial, how it gives you truth, but then it gives you a cloudy area too. It gives you partial truth and then a lack of knowledge on this side. So they take our natural build, and I say they, whoever created the Bible, I'm not getting into that. They take our natural way of being and they twist it so that it kind of makes you conform to their way of whatever they want you to believe. It conforms you into believing that because you got partial truth and then you got all these questions. So what happens in those cases is, yes, you're not supposed to have sex with someone that you're not spiritually connected with. Because what happens is you take on all their mess, and if they don't know how to filter out their past issues and past trauma, you take all of that in when you're intimate. Both of you all. It's much worse for the female. So if that man is feeling insecure, dealing with someone insecure, all his past experiences, when he's intimate with you, he's giving that to you. I'm fully aware of that, okay? And even knowing that information, I still made the same mistakes. Just being completely transparent about a woman. But as of now, as of today, those are not things that I want to practice. Or continue, let's say that. I'm putting my practices on the forefront of what I want. But to continue on that, we are sexual beings, and Taoism will teach you that. We are supposed to have sex for, in my opinion, and based on the information from Taoism, for 3 reasons. For manifestation, creation, and healing. I don't know how many of you all know this, but reflexology, all your main organs are in your feet and in your genital area. Which means that if you do your research, you will find out exactly what I'm talking about. Where your lungs are on the penis and the vagina, the heart, all of that. And it's on your feet too, which is how people heal through the feet. So the purpose of me giving you that information is because those things are important when it comes to understanding the purpose of sex. That it should be used for healing. That it should be used for manifestation. You can't manifest when you're intimate with someone who do not want the same thing you want in life. When you reach your orgasm, you're supposed to be only reaching your orgasm for the purpose of manifestation and creating. And the reason that is because when you release, you're supposed to have in mind what you want to manifest. Or if you, even down to, I would say, women in their menstrual cycles. We're not supposed to have a menstrual cycle until it's time to conceive. Men are supposed to learn about ejaculating instead of ejaculating. Every time we reach an orgasm, we shorten our life expectancy. This information to me is so important because it makes sense. And I've experienced it, so I know. And Taoism actually teaches females how to stop their menstrual cycle. If I must be completely transparent with you, I have not mastered that and I have not practiced that. Stopping my menstrual cycle. But I will tell you, when I went to experience a chakra quartz crystal bed, where I did the alignment of my chakras on a crystal bed, when I did that, I had the best and shortest menstrual cycle that I've ever had in my life, and my moods were amazing. So I want us to get into understanding all of the things that alters our ability to recklessly use sexual energy. Our sexual energy is supposed to be for creating, manifesting, and healing. When your partner is sick, male or female, there's certain positions that you can use to actually help heal your partner. Of course, you have supplements. Of course, you have eating habits, meditation, cleaning of the anus. You have all of these different things that causes issues, or that can help you along the process of your issues that you may be experiencing. But if you don't know, you can't use those things. I mean, religion don't tell you anything about. Let me take that back. They say some things, but they're not clear on where it came from, which means it's not giving you the information that you need in order to apply it to your life and how it affects you, so that you have a better understanding. Because, sex is very addictive. And an orgasm is the most powerful form of energy that can come from a human body, which is why a lot of athletes and people in the military, they stop them from having sex. Because when you reach your orgasm, you lose your creativity, focus, and all of that to some degree, unknowingly, when you don't know. So think about all of those things and how everything ties into one. Start thinking about how you feel about certain things. Start thinking about reasons why you should not be intimate with other people. So when they say infidelity, why that's a problem. That is a problem when you're intimate with more than one person. And it's a problem because we fail to realize that when you're intimate with more than one person, you're exchanging energy and sharing energy from the next person. If you reach your orgasm and you're thinking about another woman, that energy is transferred over to the one you're having sex with. So when that woman has that intuition about certain things, or that man has that intuition about certain things, that didn't just come from your actions. That intuition is strong as I don't know what, and it can literally be no clue in the name of whoever you worship, but you'll feel it. And it doesn't matter whether there's any evidence of it. When we tap into our intuitive self and we understand how magical we are, and we really start paying attention to those things, you become aware beyond infinity. And when I say that, things become so crystal clear that you will avoid making the mistakes that you have either made, someone else has made, or even I've made. And even with having this knowledge, it is a struggle to pull away from the addiction of wanting that orgasm. When you release an orgasm just because it feels good, you're wasting your life. That's how you have to look at it. And I'm actually going to do a video on managing your stress like you manage your money. Look at sex that way. When you have a reckless orgasm means there's no purpose for it. You just wanted to feel it. When you stop living recklessly, because this is for me too, when we stop living recklessly and you know better, it's so rewarding. That's why people I want to shout out Infinite Waters, Ralph Smarts. He mentioned something recently on one of his videos that he's been celibate for a pretty long time. And it's like, we want to know why we're not successful. We want to know why, and I'll say successful, not just saying successful in financially. I'm talking about across the board. Relationships, confidence, financially, spiritually within. We want to know why. Because we're not investing our energy into the areas that we need to. And that's not just you all. I literally shedded tears over the past couple of weeks because I know that during this walk that I'm on in reaching my meaningful purpose, that means that I have to detach myself from people I really care about. That means that I've already done that, but I'm sorry, I'm not, anyway, but I realized that the biggest thing is getting rid of things that I love. Being able to determine what you're supposed to be investing your time in and what you're not supposed to be investing your time in. And that hurts. Want me to tell you the biggest one for me? Why I had to shed tears? the biggest one, don't have nothing to do with anybody else. It has everything to do with my food. I love food. That tastes so good. But guess what? I know what I'm supposed to be eating. And if we want what we want, we have to check ourselves. We have to check how we're exerting our sexual energy first and foremost. All of us. We have to be very informative with our children because your life depends on it. And I mean that. If we're not doing it right, we're doing it wrong. It's like finding balance. Taoism will really help you guys. There's a book that someone told me about, I would say over a year ago, and it's called Tao of Sexology, Book of Infinite Wisdom. I love that book. It taught me so much. But most of my knowledge, to be honest with you, the book only confirmed what I already knew. That's the part that I didn't share with you guys. The book confirmed what I already knew. So I want to touch on it. So we have circumcision for our boys, which is the main reason, in my opinion, why their life expectancy is so much less than a female, because we lack the knowledge that's right up under our nose. If their penis is exposed, then they're going to be more like, yes, I got to get this out. They're going to be more aroused by a touch or a sensitive feeling. So that blindsided thing right there. Oh, they said get circumcised because of the bacteria. Clean it. It's so many things. Then you have your food. We have things we watch. We have things we listen to. We have how we raising our children, making them feel ashamed when they're little about their bodies, and that's not right. Because if we were in Africa with no clothes on, or we pop out a boob for breastfeeding, it's natural. It shouldn't be looked at in a sexual manner. So just to also touch on when I wear certain clothing, I don't wear my clothing for anyone else. I wear my clothing the way I wear it because I'm comfortable and I love my body, period. There is no, I want attention. Well, of course we all love attention, but the attention that's wanted. You're beautiful. Thank you. I can take that. Keep it moving, But being looked at in a sexual manner just because it's appealing to the eye, it's just not okay, regardless of the reason in your perception. So I need our men, our gods, to treat our goddesses like the goddesses that they are and treat themselves and do the necessary damage control. Gods and goddesses. Do the necessary damage. This is not just men. Let me be very clear. It's not just our gods. Our goddesses is reckless and wide open. They're wide open. They are wide open, ready to receive like a wide receiver on a football team. I get it. They are. Wide open. And ready. Any day. Ready to break up a happy home. Whatever, however that looks. Whatever it is that they feel they want to do. They're ready. Because it's a lack of self-care. A lack of understanding. And it's like, okay, all these beliefs systems are out here. But one thing that you do have is yourself. And if we tap into our intuitive self, we will be less likely to fall susceptible to anything other than what we should be doing. Because if we're using our intuitiveness to guide us, no distraction from a song that's played, from a TV show that's watched, will affect, or a look of a female, will affect how they proceed, or a look of a male. And I apologize if in this video that I made it about just how the men are towards, the gods are towards our goddesses, and not how we are to each other. I do apologize for that if I did that. I'm not sure if I did or not, but I'm trying to correct myself in the process of this video. Because it's both of us. It's not just one. These women are really off the hook too. Our goddesses do not know who they are. And I blame our upbringing. But now that you know, where do you start? Where you start is you look up the information I gave you. Get into yourself. If you need help as an individual, reach out to me. My information will be below the comments. In the description, actually. And I have a website. I have an online boutique. I assist people creatively, which means I don't specialize in anything. I do sound healing. I do one-on-one guidance. I do mental health for the military. I do mental health on a for I can do it on a corporate level, federal level, one-on-ones, whatever you need. So I do it creatively, and I use different platforms to do that. I am also a yoga teacher for children. So I'm coming from a broad range of knowledge and experiences, and I'm very passionate about that. So if you're trying to find yourself and you need some guidance, I'm here. If you have any questions for me specifically that you want me to touch on, send me an email or text message my 1-800 number. It will come straight to my cell phone. You can text it or you can call it. The number will be in the description below. I think that's pretty much all that I have. I take that back. That's not all that I have. I have so much more where that came from, but that will conclude some information that that I would like to give you all on this topic. That's a starting point. Now, as far as getting into depth with more on this topic, as far as the perception of a male, of our goddesses and our gods, I can touch on that, but I just really want us to address this issue here. I really want us to learn more about ourselves so that we're not moving recklessly. Because be it your diet, who you're around, the music you listen to, the TV shows you watch, the social media, the lack of, did I say the lack of self-awareness? The lack of self-awareness is the biggest one. Because if you don't know who you are, what you're made of, and you've been lied to as to your build and what you're actually capable of, how do you know what to tap into? You don't. So you're pretty much just going on with life and, and just finding your way and doing what's comfortable and, just rolling with the punches, correcting your issues or not correcting your issues, falling into bad habits. Well, we have to put practices in place. And if you want to come out of recklessly being lustful over the gods and the goddesses, I need you all to learn how to go within yourself. If you want to begin learning some practices, you can reach out to me because there's different practices that you can use. It's not just yoga. It's not just sound healing. I do sound healing. It's not just the food that you eat. There's so many different things that you could do. Meditation. That helps when you put the right practices in place. You begin to shed away the bad habits. This is not going to happen overnight. You might find yourself crying in a corner. But I also want to be very clear that if you don't release, that can cause frustration. So it's very important to find an equal balance between reaching the orgasm and learning to ejaculate for our males. And our females, I want you to know that you have 9 levels of orgasm, maybe more. And you can reach them all with the right person. And there's no point of giving yourself a mediocre experience when you can have the best. And if we're recklessly reaching orgasms, that orgasm is really not the best. Because if you're just wasting it, then what are you getting out of it? If that's the most powerful form of energy coming from the human body, and you're just like, ooh, this feels good. When you actually harness the amount of discipline that it takes to reach the orgasm you're supposed to reach, it's going to last longer. It's going to be more meaningful. And then you're sending the messages out into the universe that you want to manifest, create, or heal. And then if you're messing with someone that has the same energy as you and y'all want the same things, what you're creating is a loop of energy that is going to be more powerful and intense because you're creating the same manifestation. It's like you're manifesting the same thing. You're exerting the same energy together. So think about that the next time you want to reach your orgasm. And I'm not just talking to you all. I mean, that applies to me too. I have my moments, but those moments have come to an end because guess what? I have a lot of creating to do. And I can't be wasting myself recklessly, you know, for the feelings of lust or wanting to reach an orgasm. So we got some work to do, gods and goddesses. Let's get to it. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. So be transparent with me. Send me messages. And then I'll just do a video on your concerns so that whenever I answer your questions, everyone else benefits from it too. Some people are too ashamed to tell you what they really feel. Okay? So subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate that. I do have other entities that I do provide services for that could be very beneficial to my listeners. I work with law enforcement. I also work with children. So if you want to know more about that, just send me a message and I'll send it to you. Other than that, I'm going to use this platform strictly for the creativeness of our gods and goddesses freely, because on other platforms, I am not this raw. I want to be very transparent with that. I am not. I'm honest, but I'm not this raw to the core about the topics that I discuss. So let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you all. That's why I'm exposing myself as such. I'm being very transparent with you all, and I will continue to do so. You can trust in me. You all have an amazing day on purpose. From the queen herself, Queen Itasha, to you goddesses and gods of this wonderful universe. I want you to be very intentional. Wake up intentional. Have a good one.